Generation of American leaders are wading into the political playing field, and I'm talking about both millennial and Gen Z congressional candidates. Millennial and Gen Z voters representing more than 41% of American voters. They'll have a big impact in the upcoming midterm elections. A nonpartisan voting rights organization Vote.org says that the two younger generations turned out in record-breaking numbers during the 2020 election, and that number is expected to grow during the 2022 midterms. Approximately 17 million kids have already turned or will turn 18 this year, making them eligible to vote. Well, right now, California Republican congressional candidate Joe Collins and Illinois Democratic congressional candidate Nabila Sayed joining us live. Thank you both for being here. Let's jump right in. And Joe, let's start with you. You are a millennial congressional candidate. I want to get your take on the migrant busing crisis. Do you feel that it is a good policy for border states to continue to send asylum seekers to states and cities throughout the country?
That's a tough question. I don't think it's right that they send, border crossers or migrants to other states. However, I think this administration has dropped the ball on securing the border and creating a pathway for people to declare their issues in order to get into our country. However, what are we going to do as the United States if you are Texas, if you are Arizona, when you're not a sanctuary state and you have millions and millions of people crossing the border? I think we have to take a strong stance on securing our borders and creating policies that are effective that will allow people to come to our country.
Well, Nabila, I want to get your take on the migrant issue. A top New York immigration official hinted at sending asylum seekers from New York back to Florida, citing their desire to be near their Venezuelan community. Do you think that they should be sent back?
I mean, if there are certain states that are designated and certain cities that are designated as sanctuary cities, I think it is unfortunate the way that, migrants are being treated in certain states and the fact that they have been bussed over to other states. But I do commend states like Illinois for taking people in these very heartbreaking situations and trying to make amends for the mistakes that some other states are making, because it's critical that we understand that people are coming to our country for better opportunity in tough situations. And, there is a crisis that is happening, and we need to make sure that we are alleviating it in a humanitarian way.
Back to you, Joe. Former President Trump was on the campaign trail again last night, and today Florida Governor DeSantis was in two battleground states. Neither Trump nor DeSantis, of course, have actually officially declared for a 2024 presidential run at this point, though the former president holds a commanding lead in the polls that we're seeing right now. Who do you feel is the best candidate for your party in 2024?
I have no idea. I haven't made a decision on who I would support if they did declare to run for president. However, here's my thing. When it comes to politics across the spectrum, whether it be federal, local, our community, we need younger blood in office. And that's my stance. That's what I'm going to stand on. The older politicians, they've had their time in office. They've created policy that has shaped where the United States is right now. But we're moving into a new direction, a new type of generation. We're going to need a new type of younger politician to take the helm and get our country back on track and get us moving in the direction that we need to go.
So would you favor DeSantis just because he's younger?
I would favor DeSantis because he's younger. I think, when it comes to taking care of his state, he has done a pretty good job. There's criticism and praise for both candidates, but, I'm going to have to go with the younger person.
All right. Well, Nabila, meanwhile, President Biden said in an interview on 60 Minutes just tonight that he wasn't sure if he would run again in 2024. Would you endorse a run by President Biden in 24?
I'll be honest, I'm not really thinking about the 2024 elections right now, considering we have an election here in 2022. But it is critical for me to echo the thoughts of making sure that we have diverse, younger representation having a seat at the table in local government and state government and federal government. I have no thoughts on the 2024 federal, presidential election, but that as a younger candidate running as a member of Gen Z is something that I want to see all across the board, not necessarily in one specific office, but in general when it comes to seeking leadership in political office. across the board.
I hear you. Well, this final question is for both of you. Let's begin, though, with you, Nabila. With our country so divided as it is now, what would you do as a candidate to bridge the divide and work with your Republican colleagues across the aisle?
I think it is critical to find commonality where we can. And there are some issues where it is tough to find commonality, but we, treat those situations cordially. But there are some values that I won't compromise. One is being pro-choice. That is not something that I could necessarily compromise on. But it is critical that we continue to have those conversations, that I focus on my district, knock on doors in this community to understand what the needs of the constituents are here, and to let them know that in different districts, they have someone that they could reach out to, a legislator that will be open to hearing their thoughts and hearing their opinions, because that should be the job of an elected official, of a public servant.
And Joe, same question to you. How would you bridge the divide that our country is experiencing right now?
Well, I think one of the biggest problems that we have is we have a lot of representation that are not listening to the public and not representing their constituents in a manner that they feel they need to be represented in. So I think that we need to build our allies with people who actually want to work for the people. And if you can't work for the people, then those are the guys that we need to rally to get out of Congress or get out of positions of leadership.
Joe Collins and Nabila Syed, this has been remarkably civil. Thank you so much for coming on and having the conversation. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.